From A News, this is Canada Votes.
Thank you very much, Jim. And we're watching the results come in just as you are, just live on our screens. The Conservatives now with a huge lead of 54, and the NDP and Liberals pretty much neck and neck. Ernie, where did this NDP surge come from? Was there a pivotal moment in the campaign that perhaps we just missed in Ontario?
Well, I don't think there's a pivotal moment, but I think that Jack Layton's connected with voters. He's friendly. He's user-friendly. I think a lot of young people have really liked what they've seen. I think Quebecers generally are pretty socialistic or left-leaning, and perhaps they've had enough of the whole sovereignty debate. That would be good news. And the NDP would be a natural place for them to go. Although I must say, not that I'm unbiased, I do like the numbers I'm seeing on the board here for Mr. Harper and the Conservative.
Now, Cheryl, we were talking earlier about the debate and how Jack Layton really did a good performance, you were saying, during the French debate, something that perhaps we may not have picked up on in English-speaking Canada. Gilles
and I think Gilles Duceppe really went after all the Federalists in that debate, and Jack Layton really performed well. He's been running a really solid campaign in Quebec, and we're seeing some of those results, obviously, tonight, which is it's historic for that party in that province.
And now, just looking at the Liberals now, they're actually in third place with less seats than the NDP. Is there any concerns here, Carol, that perhaps the Liberals won't be able to say they're the national governing party?
Well, I would like to see if a number of them were from Quebec that were coming in. And I just want to make a comment about Quebec and the transition that we see happening tonight. It's really quite remarkable. And so Jack has worked very hard, and it's quite remarkable that it appears to be changing from, a party that was really one province. Not really, it was one province. And for it to take on a national status is actually quite incredible, and I believe it will be very good for Canada.
And Ken, you were talking, you've got to be very happy about this. I know that you're not officially affiliated with the NDP, but you seem to be running under the ABC or the anybody but Conservative banner.
No, I think Jack ran an outstanding campaign. In fact, the reality is he resonated with voters, and the momentum shifted quite significantly halfway through the campaign. And most of the momentum was heading toward the New Democratic Party. But at the end of the day, quite frankly, again, we got to watch the elections closely, because I'm still very much concerned about Stephen Harper getting a majority government. So, Jack can be proud of the campaign. He could be proud that he looks like he could be official opposition if the numbers stay the same. But the objective to maintain a progressive country, I believe, is to hold Harper to a minority government, because under a majority government, I think the rules change.
Do you think, though, that perhaps this is a sign that Layton's transgressions that were revealed over the weekend perhaps were simply forgiven, or people just didn't care about what he may or may not have done in the 90s in Toronto?
No, I think he ran a good campaign, and I think what was reported, the kind of scandal was a non-scandal. The reality is that was at the end of the campaign, and people, quite frankly, understand the cynicism politics. That was leaked for a reason. And voters are smarter than that. And at the end of the day, Jack's going to get tremendous credit for building a new Democratic Party to a force in political life in Canada, especially in Quebec. This is absolutely incredible in Quebec. And as Ernie said already, this is good for Canada.
And I think that as the night progresses and we see the results that seem to be ever-changing, it'll be a very interesting night. Back to the desk.
I'm standing on the Ambassador Bridge's twin span, or at least what's been built of it to date. Now, when it's done, it's going to go over the Detroit River and land in Windsor. More would have been built by now, except the project is simply dragging through the Canadian environmental assessment process. Oddly enough, DRIC, the competing governmental crossing that's to be built a mile and a half downriver, is not experiencing the same delays. In fact, Canadian politicians didn't even really have a vote on the project. It was simply a governmental decision. Not so in Michigan.
Thank you, Jim. Last month, the Ambassador Bridge Company offered the state of Michigan a $500 million worth of toll credits to help fill this budgetary gap and fix the state's roads. But Governor Snyder's budget proposes using Canadian funds to fill this budget hole. Michigan has been able to turn Canada's offer of $550 million to build Michigan's side of DRIC into $2 billion worth of matching federal dollars. But some legislators are concerned that by using Canadian funds, they'll be committing to DRIC without having voted on it. This is Shari T4, one of several Afghan villages here at Fort Irwin. And while battles are taking place on the streets below, role players actually live here, giving Canadian soldiers a chance to not only hone their fighting tactics, but also practice their interaction skills. But sometimes big gambles and changes don't pay out. For years, the Chatham Street Grill hosted the city's movers and shakers in its high-end dining room. When the recession hit, they tried to adapt, becoming a gastropub with a more affordable menu. Not quite affordable enough. Within months, they shut their doors forever. Today's budget also includes plans to close the Walkerton, Sarnia, and Owen Sound prisons that collectively house about 400 inmates. Now, no word yet on how much money the province aims to save by this move or how many jobs will be impacted, but the prisoners will be moved to newer, bigger facilities. In Toronto, Christina Howard, A News.
The mayor's salary came out in the past week, and I attended several functions on the weekend. It didn't seem to register with people. They weren't concerned about Mayor Francis being the second highest paid mayor in Canada, in the city with the highest unemployment.
And I think that's because Eddie Francis is a little bit like Teflon. He's very good at deflecting, and he is very good at distracting. Rick Limoges came out with that too late in the campaign. It took him a long time in this campaign to really find his footing. He's a seasoned politician, but he's rusty. It's been several years, I believe it's 10 years, since he's really been in the running. These are issues he should have brought out earlier. And Eddie Francis, going back to your original point, Jim, the very next day came out with a new plan for downtown revitalization. And very easily were not only the media distracted, but also the electorate.